Rebecca, this roast is too salty. You know my son prefers his food less seasoned. The sharp voice echoed through the Morgan family's spacious dining room on Sunday evening. On the table sat a traditional roast beef that Rebecca had prepared with great care. The aroma of the steaming meat wafted through the air above the heavy mahogany table. "I'm so sorry," Rebecca Morgan replied with a gentle smile. As a project manager at Royal Ocean Cruise Lines, she always remained mindful of others. While managing glamorous cruise ship projects at work, she had continued to play the role of the dutiful wife at home. Behind that smile, however, lay a decade of silent endurance. Working women always neglect their housework, don't they? "I spend all day taking care of my children, so I'd never make mistakes like this." Her sister-in-law Catherine chimed in smugly, agreeing with her mother. As a mother of two, she made no attempt to hide her sense of superiority as a full-time housewife. She attended her children's soccer games on weekends and devoted herself to PTA meetings during the week. She never missed an opportunity to make subtle criticisms of working Rebecca. Across the table, Rebecca's husband Michael continued eating in silence. As a middle manager at an IT company earning $60,000 a year, he remained forever a child in front of his mother. Although he had promised to protect Rebecca when they first married, he could no longer even speak up against his mother's words. "William, don't you agree? In our day, women who put family first were the ones who earned respect." Patricia, her mother-in-law, sought agreement from her husband. A regular member of the Mar-a-Lago Club, she took pride in her social standing. Her husband, a retired real estate company president, merely offered his usual vague smile. Living in their mansion in Boca Raton's Royal Palm Yacht and Country Club area, he had chosen a life of not opposing his wife's wishes. These Sunday dinners were an unshakable Morgan family tradition. For Rebecca, however, they were weekly ordeals. Patricia, a former private school principal from a wealthy background, never dropped her condescending attitude toward others. These meals after services at Coral Ridge Presbyterian Church had become her perfect opportunity to display her authority. Rebecca recalled last year's Christmas party. Patricia had given everyone Chanel and Hermes brand items, a new Birkin bag for Catherine and designer children's clothes for her kids. Rebecca alone received a drugstore gift card. "Since you're so busy with work, something practical should suffice. You're quite removed from our elegant lifestyle, after all." The sarcasm in those words still rang in her ears. Rebecca came from a middle-class family, her father a public school teacher, her mother a librarian. That background remained a perpetual source of Patricia's contempt. Their 10th wedding anniversary had become another unforgettable humiliation. Patricia had arbitrarily canceled Rebecca's reservation at Morton's The Steakhouse, claiming, "We should celebrate as a family," and changing it to dinner at home. The evening ended up being dominated by her mother-in-law's boasting. Arriving in her white Cadillac Escalade, she had gone on endlessly about her son's married life as if discussing her own possession. Amidst such days, Rebecca had been crafting a plan. As a project manager at Royal Ocean Cruise Lines, she had designed a new cruise itinerary, a 7-day Caribbean luxury cruise. The top-tier suite on the Celebrity Beyond ship normally cost $5,000 per person, but with an employee special discount, it was 90% off. "This might help strengthen our family bonds," she thought. At work, she was valued as a capable project manager. She consistently met annual sales targets and continued to achieve results in new projects. Though her annual income of $80,000 exceeded her husband's, she never mentioned this at home. As she headed to the kitchen, Rebecca glanced at her smartwatch. The countdown to tomorrow's departure ticked silently away. Let's go over the final details for tomorrow. Patricia spoke while gracefully settling into her Italian luxury sofa. William sat silently beside her. Catherine had arrived early, having left her children with a babysitter. Rebecca, we'll meet at 7 a.m. sharp. No tardiness allowed. The success of this family trip depends entirely on your arrangements. Patricia fixed Rebecca with a meaningful look while absently fingering her pearl necklace. Yes, I have all the documents prepared, booking confirmations, discount certificates, and boarding documents, everything's ready. Rebecca answered with the confidence she'd gained from her work experience. However, her attitude seemed to irritate Patricia. Do lose that presumptuous tone. You're merely acting as our tour guide. I do hope you won't embarrass us on this trip. Outside the large living room windows, the twilight sky grew gradually darker. Michael once again chose silence in response to his mother's words. Mother, Rebecca has put in considerable effort for this trip. Though her husband rarely spoke up, his voice was barely above a whisper. Michael, be quiet. This is between us women. Patricia's sharp rebuke plunged the room back into a heavy atmosphere. The morning of departure, Rebecca was making final preparations in her home garage. The large suitcase was neatly packed with a week's worth of clothing. Nothing designer brand, all practical items. She could almost hear Patricia's mockery, but perhaps this would be the last time. Honey, it's time to leave. Hearing her husband's voice from the entrance, Rebecca completed her final document check. Booking confirmations, special discount certificates, and emergency contact list, everything was perfectly prepared. Her smartphone showed messages of support from her colleagues. Have a wonderful trip. Rebecca smiled wryly at those words. When they arrived at her mother-in-law's mansion, everyone was already waiting. The white building, illuminated by the morning sun, seemed more imposing than usual. Finally, you're here. Don't keep us waiting. Patricia cast a contemptuous look while holding her latest LV travel bag. Beside her, Catherine sent a cold stare from behind expensive sunglasses. We've been waiting since 6:30. It's really troublesome when people are so loose with time. The complaints from her mother-in-law and sister-in-law continued as they loaded the luggage into the white Cadillac Escalade. Rebecca worked in silence. The white SUV slowly pulled into a gas station along Interstate 95. The summer sun beat down mercilessly. Let's fill up here. Would anyone like a restroom break? William called from the driver's seat. In the passenger seat, Patricia elegantly fanned herself with a small fan from her expensive handbag. Rebecca stepped out of the back seat into the humid air. The reflection from the asphalt seemed to test her resolve. Rebecca, come here. Patricia's voice stopped her as she headed toward the restroom. Turning around, she saw her mother-in-law getting out of the car with a pleasant expression. Rebecca instinctively sensed danger in that smile. Get out here. We don't need extra baggage. It took a few seconds to understand the meaning of those words. Catherine gave a small laugh, while Michael hung his head in the back seat. But I'm the one who made the reservations. Before she could finish speaking, the engine roared. The white Escalade vanished before her like a ghost. Only Rebecca remained, standing on the scorching asphalt. Her wallet and smartphone were all in the car. All she had left was the smartwatch on her wrist. "Ma'am, are you all right?" A gas station attendant approached with concern. At his kind voice, Rebecca smiled quietly. "I'm fine. I'll contact my colleagues." Her smartwatch vibrated repeatedly with incoming notifications. 2 hours to Miami. 3 hours until the cruise ship's departure. Rebecca sat on a bench under the gas station's awning, preparing for the performance that was about to begin. 2 hours until departure. The white Cadillac Escalade glided into the VIP parking area. "Now, let our wonderful vacation begin." As Patricia exited the car, an attendant respectfully opened the door. She pushed up her latest Gucci sunglasses and looked around with satisfaction. Catherine immediately took out her smartphone and began taking photos for Instagram. The VIP entrance was a luxurious space with sparkling crystal chandeliers. The celebrity Beyoncé's elegant logo adorned the marble floor. In one corner of the lobby, a champagne welcome service was being offered. Patricia already held a glass, displaying graceful manners. Michael and William silently checked the luggage. Rebecca's suitcase remained untouched in a corner of the terminal, ignored by everyone. Several groups of apparent wealthy travelers formed a line in the VIP lane. Women carrying Hermès Birkin bags and men with gleaming Cartier watches. Patricia seemed to take secret pride in clearly belonging among them. Reservation for the Morgan family. Patricia announced with authority as she approached the reception counter. The receptionist in her white uniform responded with a refined smile. "May I have your group reservation number, please?" "Oh, well." Patricia hesitated for a moment. She had just remembered that Rebecca had managed all the reservation details. "I apologize, but this booking is under a special discount rate. We'll need the employee ID and personal verification from Rebecca Morgan, the booking holder." The receptionist's words made Patricia's expression freeze. Behind her, Catherine hastily put away her smartphone and leaned forward, trying to grasp the situation. "What do you mean?" "We have a proper reservation." "Yes, the reservation exists. However, for the 90% special discount rate, the Royal Ocean Cruise Line's employee must be present." The digital screen coldly displayed that a difference payment of $4,500 per person would be required. Patricia began to show signs of losing her composure for the first time. "Do something about this. Call a manager." Patricia's voice grew louder, drawing attention from surrounding travelers. The elegant atmosphere of the VIP lounge gradually crumbled. "I deeply apologize, but my superior would give you the same answer. For compliance reasons, employee special discounts are strictly regulated in our system." The receptionist maintained a consistently calm demeanor. Her attitude only served to amplify Patricia's irritation. 1 hour until departure. The terminal grew increasingly busy with pre-departure activity. "Catherine, what about your credit card?" "Sorry, Mom. I'm at my limit after paying the kids' private school fees last month." Patricia opened her own wallet, pulling out several luxury brand cards. However, they had all reached their limits. Their usually luxurious lifestyle had become a hindrance. Michael. What about you? My salary couldn't possibly. Michael trailed off, still staring at the floor. William too avoided his wife's gaze, looking out the window. The cruise ship's horn sounded in the distance. Patricia's perfect makeup began to slowly deteriorate in Florida's humidity. This is all Rebecca's doing. Catherine suddenly exclaimed. Yes, that woman planned this situation deliberately. Patricia took out her phone and called Rebecca. Come here immediately. Patricia's voice echoed through the terminal. Surrounding travelers watched them with curious eyes. Her former dignity had completely vanished. This is all your fault. Catherine continued to scream hysterically. Beside her, Michael tried to contact Rebecca with trembling hands. Please help. His voice quivered weakly. But only the mechanical voicemail message responded. At the reception counter, other passengers continued checking in one after another. Only the Morgan family's luggage remained sadly abandoned. Ladies and gentlemen, check-in will be closing shortly. The receptionist's words rang out like a final notice. Patricia showed, for the first time in public, a completely flustered expression. The mask of perfection she had prided herself on was peeling away layer by layer. The receptionist quietly added, "If Rebecca-san arrives, there's still time." Those words only served to highlight their helplessness. Top floor spa salon at the Ritz-Carlton South Beach. At 2:30 p.m., Miami's dazzling sunlight streamed through the large windows. Along the shoreline, colorful parasols lined up as tourists enjoyed their summer vacation. Miss Rebecca, your shoulders are a bit tense. Veteran therapist Maria spoke gently. In the aromatherapy-filled private room, Rebecca was enjoying a luxurious massage. Though her smartwatch continued to vibrate, her expression remained peaceful. Thank you, Maria. But this tension is necessary. She had made the spa reservation 2 weeks ago. After being abandoned by her in-laws, even the taxi ride here had been meticulously planned. Ma'am, you have a message. The receptionist quietly knocked and presented a tablet. The screen detailed the Morgan family's situation at the terminal. Mrs. Patricia is in complete panic. Rebecca also checked the situation on social media. Concerned comments were beginning to gather under the photo Catherine had posted that morning. Rebecca's smartwatch vibrated again. This time it was a message from her husband. Rebecca, please. Everyone's falling apart. Do something. The urgency was evident in the displayed text. Rebecca paused the massage and slowly sat up. Michael, I'll tell you my conditions. She began her reply in a calm voice. From the high-rise window, she could see the cruise ship's silhouette. The massive vessel swayed gently on the waves, as if supporting her resolve. First, I need a public apology from your mother. A social media apology post from Patricia, abolition of the weekly Sunday dinners, equal voice in family events, non-interference in the couple's vacations, a pledge to respect Rebecca's career. These are my minimum requirements. Of course, they're just the first step toward rebuilding our relationship. While waiting for a response, Rebecca elegantly sipped the spa's herbal tea. At 3 p.m., the celebrity beyond departed on schedule. The deck was filled with tourists celebrating the start of their glamorous vacation. However, the Morgan family was not among them. "Rebecca, I accept all conditions." A direct message arrived from Patricia. The text showed no trace of her former high-handed attitude. "I'm truly sorry." The following messages contained words she had never seen from her mother-in-law before. Faced with the crisis of potentially losing all her dignity at the Mar-a-Lago Club and her social standing in an instant, she finally acknowledged her mistakes. An apology message arrived from Catherine as well. "Rebecca, I'm sorry. I don't want my children to grow up to be such mean-spirited adults." From the spa window, she could see people waving goodbye to the departing cruise ship. Rebecca smiled quietly. "Then, as proof of our reconciliation, I propose a new trip." Rebecca presented an alternative plan she had already prepared. Another cruise tour departing the next day. However, this time at regular price. $5,000 per person, this is the real value. From now on, let's interact as equals in this family. While waiting for a response, Rebecca stepped onto the balcony. Miami's sea breeze gently caressed her cheeks. In the distance, the white form of the departed cruise ship seemed to melt into the twilight sea. "You are absolutely right." Patricia's reply came surprisingly quickly. It conveyed her determination to abandon her long-held pride as the family ruler and acknowledge others as human beings. "Just one request." "What is it?" "Please let us restart this family." At those words, Rebecca took a deep breath. The spa room's aroma melted into the evening breeze. "Yes, of course. But this time, we'll do it our way." Her smartwatch display showed messages of agreement from all family members. Her reflection in the high-rise hotel window showed her first genuine smile in 10 years. Tomorrow's new cruise would become a symbol of the Morgan family's fresh start. Rebecca began walking toward the front desk. Autumn was beginning to creep into the mansion in the Royal Palm Yacht and Country Club area. This residence, once full of dignity, was now wrapped in quietness. Patricia's presence had become notably subdued. "Doctor, was my life wrong?" Patricia quietly began speaking at the therapy clinic adjacent to Coral Ridge Presbyterian Church. Twice-weekly counseling had become her routine. Though she still wore her Chanel tweed suit, her manner of wearing it no longer showed the former arrogance. "Mrs. Patricia, there's no need to fear change." Dr. Sarah Johnson, her therapist, smiled kindly. On the desk lay a diagnosis of adjustment disorder with mild depression. Her position at the Mar-a-Lago Club had also subtly changed. Though she still attended weekly tea parties, her former high-handed attitude had disappeared. Among the members, the Morgan family incident had become a quiet topic of conversation. "Mom, the children want to see you." One day, Catherine came to visit. She too had begun to change significantly after this incident. Her PTA activities were no longer about showing off, but had become genuinely focused on the children's welfare. "I want to see my grandchildren too." "But do I deserve to?" Patricia's weak words brought tears to Catherine's eyes. For the first time, they spoke honestly as mother and daughter. "Let's begin this week's family meeting." Rebecca's voice echoed through the Morgan family's new living room. The location was Michael and Rebecca's new home, not Patricia's mansion. On the table sat an apple pie baked by Rebecca. It was slightly burnt, but no one mentioned it. Instead, Catherine naturally contributed to the conversation, saying, "I've started taking pie-making lessons recently too." "Son, how's work lately?" William's voice no longer carried its former hesitation. Free from his wife's influence, he too was gradually regaining his naturally warm personality. "I was assigned a big project last week." Actually, Rebecca's advice was really helpful, Michael answered while gently holding his wife's hand. His demeanor no longer showed his previous indecisiveness. The new IT company project was progressing smoothly, thanks to his renewed confidence from rebuilding trust with his wife. In the Royal Ocean Cruise Line's executive boardroom, through the large windows, luxury cruise ships could be seen docked at Miami Port. "We unanimously approved the appointment of Rebecca Morgan as Vice President of the Cruise Division." Applause erupted at the chairman's words. The exceptional salary of $150,000, yet no one objected. Her capabilities had already been proven through results. "Thank you. I will certainly make the most of this opportunity." Rebecca's expression overflowed with fulfillment. Gone were her former reservations about her mother-in-law and insecurities about her position. On her new office desk sat a family photo. A relaxed group picture taken on the cruise ship last month. Patricia, Catherine, and her husband, everyone showed natural smiles. One holiday afternoon, Patricia came to Rebecca for advice. As part of her retirement life, she was trying to establish a local education support program. "That's a wonderful idea. Though perhaps the budget allocation here should be a bit more realistic." The two exchanged opinions amicably over coffee. The former tension was nowhere to be seen. Catherine had also begun consulting Rebecca about her children's education. "I want to share my experience as a working woman with the children. I want to broaden their future options." Weekend family picnics had become a regular occurrence. Everyone shared their thoughts in their own words while gathering around William's barbecue. The children flourished within this new family dynamic. The Christmas season was approaching. This year, they had decided to hold the party at Rebecca and Michael's new home rather than Patricia's mansion. "I have a surprise for everyone." Rebecca handed an envelope to each family member. Inside were tickets for next year's cruise vacation, arranged through her vice presidential benefits. "But this time, we should pay for." As Patricia began to speak, Rebecca gently shook her head. "This is a gift to celebrate our new family's beginning. I want you to accept it." Outside the window, Christmas decorations had begun to adorn the streets. The aroma of apple pie filled the room. "Rebecca." Patricia quietly began to speak. "You've taught me something important, me, who never had a daughter of my own." The room fell silent for a moment at those words. That love isn't about control. And that family members are equals. Rebecca silently embraced Patricia. Outside the window, Florida's gentle winter sunlight tenderly illuminated this new family's story.